Merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IEFTalks Webinarları'na hoş geldiniz. Bugün İrlanda'nın en köklü üniversitelerinden University College Cork'ta lisans ve yüksek lisans programlarını ZITA'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Zita, the stage is yours now. You are muted, Zita.
Thank you Zeynep. Günaydın, hoş geldiniz. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's great to see you all. My own name is Zita, as Zeynep mentioned, and I am based in Cork City. Some of you might have come across Cork before. We were at the latest IEFT fairs, the series of fairs across Turkey in March, and our college was also represented at the IEFT fairs in autumn last year, and we will be very much present in autumn this year as well. So we look forward to seeing you and meeting you in person at one of these events in the future. So my own name is Zita. You might be able to tell that my accent is not necessarily Irish. My own nationality is Czech, so I come from the Czech Republic, from Prague City. But I have been living and working in Cork City for the last 10 years. Cork City is located in the south of Ireland, so it is the second largest city after Dublin. You will be familiar with Ireland. Ireland is an independent country. It is an island which is further west of the United Kingdom. So you will all be familiar with the UK. And then Ireland is an independent country. It is divided into two republics, or two countries essentially, because the Northern Ireland, so a tiny proportion of the island in the north, belongs to the United Kingdom, while the majority of the southern part of the island is an independent Irish republic for over 100 years. And as it stands, Ireland is the only English-speaking country in the European Union. You will be all familiar with Brexit and with the fact that United Kingdom no longer avails of the European Union membership benefits, while Ireland is still very much a proud member of the EU. As I was mentioning, Dublin is the largest city in the Republic of Ireland. It's on the east coast, and it is overlooking the sea, looking over toward the United Kingdom. The population of Dublin as a capital is approximately 1.5 million people. So it is certainly the most metropolitan place in the Republic. Cork, on the other hand, is much smaller. Even though it's the second largest, the population is only approximately 300,000 people. So in comparison to the capital, it's significantly smaller, which is why we all love it. Cork is very much a student city. It's a very bike and walking friendly city. And UCC, the University College Cork, is very much part of the city center and part of the city history and of its cultural life. So in terms of the university, what you're seeing in front of you, it's a cartoon of the campus and cartoon of some of the landmarks in Cork City itself. The gray building that you're seeing in front of you is the oldest part of the university, which was built in 1845. So it is one of the oldest universities in Ireland. And as a result, it has a long history and very strong tradition of teaching excellence. The university campus is located about 10 to 15 minute walking distance from the Cork City harbor, and the harbor lays at the city center. So UCC as a campus is very much based in the city center. So would be the majority of your student life. Most of our accommodation complexes for students are located within walking distance of the main campus, which means within walking distance of the city center. So your life would be very much compact and centered around the university. This is the actual picture of our beautiful campus and the quad, which is the heart of the university. As you might know, it's not always sunny in Ireland. So what you're seeing on the picture is obviously one of the nicer days. that happen in Cork. In terms of the weather, and this is certainly something that Turkish students coming from a beautiful climate need to be aware of. The weather might be a bit of a surprise, and that applies to Ireland as much it does to the United Kingdom. So you might be familiar. In the UK, there is the anecdote that it rains quite often and that it rains throughout the whole year. The same applies to Ireland. So when you're, I suppose, planning for your future studies and planning for your study abroad adventures, just be mindful that you might experience a bit of a weather shock coming to the UK or to Ireland. In terms of the temperatures, however, what you're seeing here is a beautiful sunny summer day in Ireland. So the summers are obviously very pleasant and very mild. So at the moment, at the end of April, we are looking at temperatures around 15 degrees. Over the summer, there is going to be approximately 20. But then during winters, you might be used to snow and quite cold nights. That's not necessarily the case in Ireland. Ireland is quite mild, so snow is quite rare. It wouldn't really snow or freeze here. So again, if you do not love the very cold winters, Ireland is certainly a place for you to consider. In terms of the campus, I would certainly recommend you to have a look at our online virtual campus tour that you can access on the UCC website. The campus is very compact, and as I said, it's historical and it sits right within the Cork city center. So what you're seeing here is the aerial view of the campus, and at number 6 you will be seeing the main building. That's the oldest part of the university, which I have in my background, and we saw at the previous image. And all the student facilities would be located around it. You might also notice that the campus is very green, and it is, and so is the majority of the country, because it is called the Green Island, and it comes for just the incredible amount of greenery, be it forestry, be it fields, be it different bushes and gardens. So it is just a very beautiful and peaceful place to be. In terms of the campus life, especially if you are perhaps interested in engineering or architecture and you're coming from some kind of engineering or architectural background, you will notice how mindfully Cork blends historical buildings with new buildings. So what you're seeing here, for instance, is the blend of the old and new. So certainly very inspiring place for anyone who is looking to be learning from the past, learning from the techniques and architecture and engineering techniques of the past, but perhaps applying it in a modern design and looking into the future. These are just some summaries and some basic data about the university and about the student population. So the university is nearly 200 years old. It started as a very small university, and as we speak, it has a population of nearly 26,000 students. So it grows on year. Approximately every 5th student that you will come across will not be Irish. So while about 20,000 students at the university at the moment are born in Ireland, there will be about 6,000 students that are coming from outside of the country, coming from abroad. So it is a very multicultural and international campus, and as a result, it's very inclusive and very understanding and very liberal. When we talk about the values at UCC, and this is something that we are very proud to promote, and these are values that everything we do at UCC is guided by, and those are values of accountability, agility, compassion, discovery, equity, integrity, respect, and sustainability. And this is going to be seen and felt through anything you will be engaging with throughout UCC, be it student life and extracurricular activities, or be it your actual academic study itself. When we are talking about the academic studies. I understand that some of you might be looking at the postgraduate options, and some of you are perhaps looking at undergraduate options. So you might be currently coming toward the end of your high school studies, or perhaps you have already completed a bachelor degree, or you're about to complete your first bachelor degree, and you might be looking at specializing through a postgraduate program. What is going to be important is to understand how UCC is structured. So University College Cork is a comprehensive university and offers an incredible amount of different academic programs at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. And these are going to be clustered depending on the discipline and depending on the interest that you have in a specific academic area. So if you're coming from a background, or if you have interest and you want to pursue a degree in the future in kind of arts, humanities, social sciences, perhaps language area, you would be looking at the academic programs that are offered by the College of Arts, Celtic Studies, and Social Sciences. If you're coming from or are interested in the area of business, commerce, finance, or law and legal studies, the College of Business and Law again offers incredible amount of programs that you can choose from. If you're a scientist and you're coming from the background of engineering and architecture, as we already mentioned, or perhaps be it food science, be it biological or chemical sciences, the College of Science, Engineering, and Food Science is the place for you to go. And lastly, if you have interest in pursuing medicine, dentistry, any kind of nursing degree or public health, we have a College of Medicine and Health there to support you. So these are just some of our arts programs that you can look at if you are coming from a high school background and you're looking at undergraduate, you are looking at undergraduate programs. If you were coming from the perspective that you want to specialize in a master's program in one of the arts or humanities or social sciences degrees, there is a much wider and much longer list of master's programs that would be taught, that would be taking 1 year to complete, that you can choose from. In terms of the Business and Law College, we offer a number of different law and business and commerce programs. All of these take 4 years to complete, with the only exception of the BCL law pathways. If you decide to do the BCL law pathway, it is going to take 3 years to complete. In terms of the sciences, again, this is just the basic list for anyone who is looking to apply for their first undergraduate program leaving from high school. And within these programs, they take 4 years to complete. Usually in the first year, you're doing general science subjects, and from second year onwards, you start to specialize in whatever area of the particular discipline you want to specialize in. So for instance, when we look at the biological, earth and environmental sciences, in the first year, you are going to be doing a lot of general science such as biology, physics, chemistry. But from the second year onwards, you choose to specialize in a particular area, be it zoology, for instance, or geology, for instance. So this is just for you to understand that the different programs that you are applying to, those are just the titles, and within each of the title there are many different disciplines that you can specialize in. And lastly, again, this is the undergraduate offering for anyone who is coming from an interest in medical sciences, health, dentistry, nursing. So most of our programs will take 4 years to complete, with the exception of dentistry, medicine, and pharmacy. I suppose for those of you who are at the crossroads, leaving high school or about to leave high school, looking into the future, you might not realize it, but you are at a major milestone in your life. I suppose at this point you are consulting with your parents, you're consulting with your family, and it is the right thing to be doing. Some of you might have guidance counselor support services available at your schools, and certainly make sure you engage with them, because it is a big decision that you're making when you are applying for your first undergraduate degree. As I mentioned, the majority of our undergraduate programs are going to take 4 years to complete. Some of them might take only 3, some of them might take longer. So it is a significant chunk of life that you will be dedicating to a country, to an institution, to a city, and to a discipline. So it is at this point in your life, it is very important to make sure that you feel confident that you're making the right choice and that you're making the right steps for your future. That is why we have developed Nurturing Bright Futures online program, and I highly recommend you to engage with this tool. It's completely free for anybody to use. You can use it from anywhere around the world. So what Nurturing Bright Futures is, it is an online course that sits and is hosted on the UCC website. You create your own account, and then it's free for you to use at your own time. Ultimately, the idea of Nurturing Bright Futures at UCC is to replace the role of the guidance counselors and to make you understand where your strengths lay, and to make you understand what you actually want to do in life, how you are going to benefit from studying abroad, from undertaking a particular degree, and where that is going to lead you to. Because I suppose it is hard to think about it at this point, but after the 4 years of your undergraduate program, you will be ready to face the labor market, and you want to make sure that the undergraduate degree that you have chosen has prepared you well for the career that you desire to be in. So the Nurturing Bright Futures, it's an online course that is divided into multiple modules, and we highly recommend our students to take time when they are completing the modules. It might take a couple of hours from start to finish to complete the modules, so it is not something to just do in one day. It is something to do over a period of time. Do it at peace, but really pay attention to the different exercises. So what you can expect in each module is a series of kind of self-assessment, self-help toolkit. You will come across different exercises, and you will come across different downloadable printouts that you can print out for yourself, or you can complete online and complete digitally. And it is for you to pause and think, 5 years from now, where do I want to be in terms of geographical location? Where do I want to be living? Where do I want to be working? Who do I want to be working as? What kind of salary do I want to be? What kind of language skills do I want to have? And what kind of experience, what kind of student experience do I want to have behind me? So all of this is very important for you to consider before you make any commitments, or before you even apply to University College Cork or to any other university in Ireland or in the UK. This is something to be very mindful of, because you are probably in the spirit and you are probably in the attitude of looking at other international schools, other universities around the globe. So while you are considering studying in Ireland, you might also be considering studying in the US, studying in the UK, studying in Germany or elsewhere in Europe. It is very important for you to understand how the different education systems work. The reason for that is that, for instance, if you decide to study in the United States, your first few years of your undergraduate programs are going to be very open and very flexible. So you ultimately only start specializing in a particular area, be it engineering or be it pharmacy, be it law, after many years of just a general university studies. And as a result, you can apply to a university in the United States with just a vague idea of what you want to do, because you have many years to figure out what you are really good at and what you want to specialize in. On the contrary, when you are applying to Ireland, you are already specializing in a particular area, and it is going to be in the area of the program that you apply for. So let's say that you want to be an engineer and you apply to a BE engineering program, which is an undergraduate 4 years long program in engineering. There will be very little time for you in the first year or in the first few years of that program to try to understand whether engineering is the right pathway for you or not. You are already in an engineering program that is going to lead you to a chartered engineer at the end of it. So it is very important for you to know that the program that you're applying to is the correct one. Hence the Nurturing Bright Futures online tool that I invite everybody to engage with. In terms of the entry requirements, and again, I understand that perhaps majority of our audience today would be coming from the school background and might be exploring the undergraduate options. Hence, I have the entry requirements here for school leavers. I also understand that our audience will be a mix of students coming from national Turkish high schools and perhaps coming from some international high schools that perhaps follow an international baccalaureate or US or the United Kingdom curriculum. So this is just for you to understand what kind of grades, what kind of academic results you need to be achieving in order to be accepted into our programs. Our programs are divided into different bands. What band means is ultimately a category or competitiveness of the program. So for band 1, we are talking about programs such as medicine and dentistry. Even medicine and dentistry have a slightly separate application process altogether. But when we are talking about band 1, we are talking about pharmacy, finance, mathematical sciences, physics, and astrophysics. So programs that are very demanding will also be very demanding in regards to the entry requirements. When we talk about band 2, those are the majority of our programs in the College of Business and Law, and programs in the College of Science, Engineering, and Food Science. So for instance, if you are based in an international school located in Turkey that follows an international baccalaureate curriculum, and you want to apply for engineering, you would be looking at getting a minimum score of 31 points out of 45 in order to be eligible for the engineering program. And then lastly, when we are talking about programs that are in the humanities and social sciences, arts and languages, usually the entry requirements are slightly lower, hence the requirements for band 3 programs. Naturally, there is going to be a requirement, for instance, if you want to do engineering, using that as an example again, there is going to be a requirement for maths. And you will know as an engineer, you will be doing a lot of maths throughout your program and throughout your career. So for instance, as using the example that we have just talked about, if you're currently based in an international baccalaureate school and you're looking at applying to engineering, not only do you have to have 31 points out of 45 to be eligible overall, you also have to be getting at least higher level grade 5 in mathematics in order to be eligible to get in. In terms of the English language requirements, if English is not your first language, not only we are looking at your academic performance in your school, or let's say if you're applying for a master's program throughout your undergraduate program, you also have to demonstrate and provide evidence that you have the minimum English language skills in order to be able to follow the academic program through English. So for both undergraduate and postgraduate programs, we are looking at IELTS. IELTS is usually the most common and the most known and usually the most taken English language test across the globe. So if you were choosing to take IELTS, which is one of the recognized English language tests, you would be looking at getting at least 6.5 overall, with no section below 6.0. So that means speaking, writing, or listening, all of those sections have to be over 6.0. So this is just to give you an idea of how we assess our applications. We assess them in terms of the academic eligibility and academic readiness in terms of the previous results, be it from high school or from previous university studies, but we are also looking at the English language results in order to make sure that any student is able to follow the content once they are at UCC. When I was talking about the importance of understanding what kind of degree, what kind of country, what kind of city, what kind of institution you want to study at, there is also an element of structuring your academic programs differently at UCC. And with the majority of the programs that we talked about, be it in the science, be it in the medicine and health, nursing, arts, humanities, or business and law sections, there will be an element of international experience that you can opt for. What that means is that you can choose to, so ultimately you will be committing to study in Cork and at University College Cork for 4 years, and you have decided that you will be doing a bachelor program in business. You will have the opportunity in the 3rd year to go away from Cork and go and study at one of our partner universities. We have partner universities all over Europe under the Erasmus scheme, which you will be all familiar with. But we also have partner universities all over the world, in North America, in South America, in Asia, or in Australia. So certainly in China as well. So there will be plenty of opportunities for you, not only to experience the education at University College Cork and in Ireland, but also go abroad as an Erasmus or as an exchange student to one of our partner universities, if you so wish. The other thing that you might want to consider is that you can also opt for a clinical placement. There will be academic programs who will be offering clinical placements and internships, be it paid or unpaid, as part of their degrees. So again, this is just something to be considering when you are looking at the different program offerings. In terms of the student life, so obviously there will be different academic areas that you will be interested in, and the academic program is there to qualify you and teach you all it can about the academic area. However, the university life is not all about studying. It's also about having a very fulfilling life and very fulfilling fun time while you are at the university. So as you might know from different movies about the university life in the United States, the United Kingdom and Ireland works very similarly. So we will have a large variety of student clubs and societies. Clubs usually being centered around a sport activity. UCC societies are then usually centered around a common interest, not being a physical sport, for it being something perhaps spiritual, political. Perhaps there might be a society that centers around a similar academic interest. So this is usually how our students make friends, how they connect, how they make friends outside of their own classmates, outside of their own housemates, and how they just connect through activities and through shared interest. So talking about the sports clubs, if you are a professional or semi-professional athlete or a sports person, you do not have to worry. You will be able to continue your sports activities here. Again, we have We have nearly 100 sports clubs at UCC. The Mardijk Arena, which is the main UCC sports hall, is located only 5-minute walk from the main university campus. And that's where most of our sports clubs practice. So certainly if you are used to being active in terms of physical activity at home, Cork is a very active city, and we highly recommend our students to remain active during their student life with us. In terms of accommodation options, and again, this is something that is very important to take into consideration. As I already mentioned, Cork is a very walkable city. University College Cork is based within walking distance of all city amenities. And as I also mentioned, most of our student complexes and student accommodation houses would be located within walking distance of the main campus. We are fortunate enough to have a designated accommodation office at the University College Cork, and being an international student, being a student who comes from abroad with very little knowledge or experience of looking for housing in Ireland, you will be at the top of the list in terms of priority. So our accommodation office will make sure that they will help you find a suitable accommodation, be it a student accommodation complex, or perhaps a private accommodation elsewhere around the city. When we are talking about the different types of accommodations, majority of our international students opt for the UCC campus accommodation, which are purpose-built student accommodation complexes where you would have your own room and you would share an apartment or kind of a living area, perhaps with another 3 to 5 other students. We understand that students have different budgets, different preferences. So all of this will be taken into consideration when the accommodation office is helping you to find a suitable accommodation. There is also an option to go and look for your own accommodation if you already have perhaps a friend and you know you're coming together, or if you have any relatives in Cork. There is obviously no obligation to avail of the accommodation services from UCC. When we are talking about the financing, when we are talking about the cost of living, accommodation is always going to be the biggest part of your monthly budget. So when we are talking about accommodation, we usually advise students to account for approximately 800 to 1,000 euro a month to cover their accommodation expenses. There might be something cheaper, there might be something more expensive. It will depend on your lifestyle. But in terms of budgeting for accommodation, certainly budget for at least 800 euro a month. When we are talking about the academic year, so just to give you an idea of how many months in an actual year you will be physically present in Cork, the academic year usually starts in middle of September. So you would be expected to arrive to Cork by the end of August. And you would be expected to be in Cork for the first semester, which starts from the middle of September until approximately middle of December. That's when the first semester ends. All of your exams will be done before Christmas holidays. Then most of our students return, usually in mid-January for the second semester, and they are in Cork from mid-January usually until mid-May. That's by the end of May, the majority of your exams will be finished. And a lot of our international, but also domestic students choose to leave Cork. Some of them might look for summer jobs. Some of them might have different academic projects and works going on. But majority of our students seem to leave Cork for the summer holidays and go traveling or go back home or go work abroad. So a lot of the time, you wouldn't physically need to be in Cork in June, July, and August. So this is just something to consider when you're looking at budgeting for your accommodation. We were talking about the different accommodation types. Again, you have the QR code, so please feel free to explore the different accommodation opportunities that are available to our students through our website. Now, we were already talking briefly about budgeting, and this is something that I would like to invite you to engage with. We have our own budget planner available as part of the Nurturing Bright Futures online self-help tool that I already referenced earlier. It is very important for you, and it will be very important for your families to make sure that you're budgeting right and that your study abroad opportunities, that your study abroad experience comes within your budget. So as we were saying, let's account for approximately 800 euros to cover your accommodation bill per month. In terms of other living expenses in a month, we usually recommend students to account for 200 to 300 euros for food. I understand that food is very important in Turkish people's life. So it is in Irish people's life. Again, in contrary to many campus accommodation plans in the United States, majority of our students, be it domestic or international, here in Ireland, will cook for themselves. So while there is a canteen available at UCC, and there are different types of restaurants and cafes around the campus and around the city, majority of students choose to cook for themselves in their own accommodations because it just comes cheaper. So when I was saying that you will have your own room and you will be sharing the apartment with perhaps another 3 to 5 people, while you have your own room, you will be sharing the living area and the kitchen facilities. So very often we see our students cooking together with their classmates, and it just becomes part of their social life as well. In terms of other expenses, there would be very little on transportation that you would need to spend in a given month, and that is because, as I mentioned, you will be able to walk or cycle to majority of the places that you will need to. So all in all, we recommend students to account for approximately 1,000 to 1,500 euro a month to comfortably sustain themselves in Cork City. You will know Dublin being capital, if you are considering universities or studies in Dublin, account for a bit more because the prices are usually a bit more expensive in the capital cities. As I mentioned, the budget planner is available as part of the Nurturing Bright Futures on our website. So this is, again, something very important to make sure that you understand all the costs and that you are able to do the analysis whether you're happy for the investment and whether you can see the return and the value of the investment and the return on the investment that you're making into your education. I suppose when we are talking about finances, we also have to mention the tuition fees here. You will know that across the world, across Europe, certainly, there will be public and private institutions. I understand that there is a large number of public and private universities in Turkey. It is important to understand that in Ireland, majority of the universities are public. So when we are talking about University College Cork, it is a public university. However, while you might be used to in Turkey that public university means that there are no tuition fees associated with the studies at that public university, that does not necessarily apply in Ireland. So when you are looking at the different public universities and at the different academic offerings that those universities have, just be mindful that there are tuition fees that you will have to pay in order to study at the institution that you choose. At UCC, being an international student, so a student who comes from outside of Ireland, outside of the European Union, you will be considered an international student, and the tuition fees, let's say for undergraduate program, are going to range between 15 to 55,000 euro, depending on the program. So you will be familiar that medicine and dentistry are usually the most expensive programs. If you, for instance, opted to study medicine this year at UCC, it would be 51,000 euro for international students. However, those are usually the most expensive programs. When we talk about studying law, business, arts and humanities, or science programs, we are usually talking about 20 to 25,000 euro per academic year. And that is the tuition fee that has to be paid to the university for the education that you receive. And that is independent and separate to the living costs that we have just talked about and we had on the previous slide. So this is just to make sure, again, when you are doing your budgeting and when you are trying to make sure that you are making the right investment studying abroad, it is something to be mindful of, that there will be an element of tuition fees, which are the fees that are paid to the university on an annual basis for the education you receive. And then there will be the expenses of sustaining yourself living in the city, be it Cork or elsewhere in Ireland. And so that you understand that all of these have to be taken care of. In terms of the tuition fees, there is obviously going to be a difference whether you're coming from a high school background and you're looking to study an undergraduate program, which is going to take 3 to 4 to 5 years, or if you're coming already with a bachelor degree and you're looking to specialize through master's program. Our master's programs take only 1 year to complete. So let's say that the cost of your master's program is 20 to 25,000 euro. That's because master's program take only 1 year to complete. The tuition fee is going to be 20 to 25,000 euro. However, if you're deciding to do bachelor in engineering, because it's a 4-year long program, just be mindful that the 20,000 euro tuition fee has to be paid for each of the years. So it will be paid 4 times to the university for the 4 years.
Zita, do we have more slides to go as we're getting short of time?
Sorry.
Do you have more slides to go because we're getting short of time?
Yeah, I only have few, so nearly.
Okay, we have 15 questions, so if you could like speed up a little bit, that would be great.
Okay, brilliant.
Thank you.
So great. So thank you for the questions. I look forward to addressing them. So when we are talking about the finances, you will all know it's important to make sure that you plan ahead. Having said that, I just want to bring your attention to the student supports that are available at UCC. So once you are at UCC, you are in good hands, and there will be plenty of support that you can avail of at any given time. So again, this is just something to be mindful of, that once you come to us, you're not alone, and you will be supported should you come across any issue. Now, in terms of the supports, this is coming to the end. This is just something to uplift us. We do listen to our students because we do want to support our students whenever they need. And this is just a new initiative, as I suppose, an evidence of how we look after our own students. And that's an initiative of I suppose, emotional support dogs available throughout the campus, particularly now because our students are coming into the exam period. So you will see a lot of these dogs around campus. If you just feel a bit stressed, a bit worried about the exams coming up, the dogs are just a wonderful distraction in this process. So coming toward the end of my presentation, I thought that it would be helpful to give you just a little look at what some of our Turkish students have said about studying in Cork City, studying at University College Cork before. So Feriha, she is a master's student, an outstanding scholar who is currently with us at UCC. She has applied and she was successful in obtaining the Jean Monnet scholarship, and is doing incredibly well in her program. She will be finishing the master's program in the next few months, looking at further postgraduate options, and perhaps staying as a part of the research team in the UCC School of Law. And what a lot of our students, not just from Turkey, will be saying is that they perhaps do not expect much of Ireland, because majority of our students will know about the United Kingdom. Ireland comes as a second choice, often second choice because it's a bit cheaper. They perhaps do not expect much of Cork because they are perhaps hearing much more about Dublin being the capital. But for those students who do decide to come to Cork, have a wonderful time. And it's because people in Cork City are just incredibly friendly, incredibly welcoming, incredibly inclusive. And it is just something that you know you will feel wonderful when you are here with us. Besides the fact that you're going to get an incredible level, an incredible standing of education. So this is just to finish here in terms of what it's going to look like or might feel like for you if you decide to apply to UCC, or if you are considering studying in Ireland, possibly studying in Cork with us. So I'm going to stop sharing here. What I'm going to do, we will share the PowerPoint slides with our colleagues in IEFT, and they will be available for anyone who wants to have access to them. So I have stopped sharing, and I understand that we will have a number of questions here. But Zeynep, do you perhaps want to ask people, do they want to ask questions live, or do we start answering questions in the chat? Whatever you prefer.
Are you able to see the questions in the Q&A box, Rita?
Yes.
If you could just like read it out loud and answer quickly, that would be great.
We will do that. So, okay. So thanks to anybody who has submitted their questions, and I'm sure that some of the questions will be applicable to more students. So what we are seeing first is career support, and again, very important area. As we have a designated accommodation office at UCC, we also have a designated career services at UCC. However, very often, depending on your discipline, very often your own program director or the academics and the researchers in your area are usually the first point of contact that we suggest to students to go to. So for instance, again, I'm going to take engineering as an example. If you are already enrolled in an engineering program, and you're perhaps thinking about paid internship opportunities halfway through the program, the best place to ask is to go to your engineering program director, because they will already have the contacts and they will already have the network, not only in Cork, but around Ireland. Having said that, we have a very, very established and dedicated careers team as well, who helps our students to look for suitable part-time or full-time work, who help our students to design their CV, prepare for interviews, and so on. Now we have another question. Does UCC accept Turkish diploma, especially for medicine and pharmacy, or do you require IB, AP, or A-level? Yes, so we won't be able to accept the Turkish National High School diploma for entry into medicine, pharmacy, or dentistry. It will be the international baccalaureate is usually the most favorable, or A-levels. And you would have to apply through an agency. So if you are considering applying for medicine or dentistry or pharmacy, and you're based in Turkey, get in contact with IDP. IDP is our local partner in the region, and they process the applications for medicine, dentistry, and pharmacy on our behalf. And they will be able to advise you in terms of the entry requirements and the qualifications that you need to be presenting. What is the admissions criteria? So the admissions criteria are going to differ depending on what kind of program you want to study and whether it is an undergraduate or postgraduate level. So for medicine and dentistry, we have just mentioned you won't be able to apply directly with just the Turkish national diploma. You will need to have an international high school curriculum. However, if you want to apply for engineering, for instance, use it as an example, you can apply directly with the Turkish National High School Diploma. You will need to have at least 85% overall result, and you will need to have at least 85% in maths. But that is just for engineering specifically. So our entry requirements are listed on our website. So if you're looking to apply for undergraduate programs, look at the international office at UCC and look at the undergraduate admissions. You will be able to see all the programs that you can apply for and the very specific entry criteria there. Do students use any on-campus tutoring programs or writing centers? Yes. So we do have a skills center at UCC. It's part of the library group at UCC, and again, it's specifically designed for students to help them understand the perhaps different academic writing styles and the expectations that are there. And the expectations are going to be quite similar to the UK and to the United States. So what kind of writing style is expected of you being in an English-speaking academic surrounding? And there will be different tutorials available to undergraduate and postgraduate students in terms of how to write, what kind of language you want to be using. They will be able to help you with corrections, perhaps throughout the first year when you are writing different essays or different project papers or research papers. So certainly the Skills Center at UCC is a place to look at if you want to get a better understanding of what kind of supports there are for students when they are already deep into their studies and they are working on their assessments and perhaps not feel too comfortable because it's the first time for you doing it, or English is not your first language, or perhaps you are used to a different academic style. Certainly Skills Center is there for you to explore. Do you offer computer science program? What are the qualifications? Thank you. So we do offer computer science. We do offer it both at undergraduate and postgraduate level. One thing to be mindful of, computer science as well as data science programs are very popular, and very often they fill quite quickly. So if for the future you were considering applying for a computer science program, apply early in the cycle. The application cycle usually opens in November, December, and they are open until May or June, depending on the undergraduate or postgraduate degree. And the sooner you apply, the sooner you will know whether you are being accepted. In order to get into postgraduate computer science program, you would need to be getting at least GPA of 3.0, if not higher, out of 4. When you are looking at computer science at an undergraduate level, we usually require approximately 70% overall in students' high school diploma. So the entry requirements are available on our website. And depending on what levels, is it undergraduate or postgraduate level, there will be different opening time for the application cycle and different closing time. But usually, if you wanted to start studying computer science with us in September 2026, you will be able to submit your application from November or December this year. And the sooner you do it, the better. How many and what amount of scholarships do you offer to international students studying marketing at University College Cork? So scholarships, again, are very important and very relevant. When we talk about scholarships, they are slightly different in Ireland to what you might be used to in the United States. Scholarships that are available from the University College Cork for any program are usually just a percentage discount from the tuition fee. So let's say that the overall tuition fee for a marketing program in this example is 20,000 euros. You might be eligible for a 20% discount or 10% discount, depending on where you come from, depending on your previous results, whether you are applying from high school, depending whether you are applying from already being already a university student. So there are different scholarships, meaning different discounts to the tuition fees, but at most they are going to reduce your tuition fees by a couple of €1,000. So when you are budgeting, just be mindful that scholarships will be a discount to the tuition fee, but not too significant to reduce the overall cost. However, all the scholarships that University College Cork offers, they are available on our website. We have a designated scholarship website on our UCC web page. So when you look at UCC scholarships and type it into Google, it is going to bring the designated website, and you will be able specifically to search for the program you want to study, the level you want to study at, and what different scholarships there are available, and how you can apply for them, and what the value of those scholarships would be. Can you please provide timeline of application? Usual high school diploma is obtained in June, July in Turkey. Will such be okay to start bachelor degree in September? Otherwise, what do you recommend for application in order not to lose 1 year? Great question. So I'm not sure whether this applies to somebody. This applies to someone from high school, but it might apply to somebody who is finishing the university degree as well. So at the moment, for instance, you can still apply until the end of May and until mid-June for undergraduate and for postgraduate programs. You can still apply if you want to start studying at University College Cork this September. So at the moment, the application timeline is still open. And I would say that majority of our applications are coming from the position where they are currently still enrolled at a high school level, or are currently finishing the final year of undergraduate program, looking to move straight from the final year of high school into the first year of undergraduate program, or from the final year of the bachelor degree straight, let's say, into master's program. So we are used to it and it's not a problem. So let's say that in this instance, you might still be interested in applying right now, applying this spring, and you want to start with us in September. You can do that. When you are applying, and let's take the high school example here, you are going to provide information about your school. So you're going to upload a transcript, and that transcript is not going to be final. That transcript is only going to have your results over the last number of years and from last semester. So let's say from your December or January exams, but we understand that you are still waiting for the final high school exams. You are going to upload a reference, so that reference is going to be from your high school guidance counselor or your high school teacher. You're going to upload your personal statement, so why you want to study at UCC. And if you have already taken an English language exam, you will upload it as well. So with all of these documents, your application will be assessed. Let's say that you submit the application tomorrow and you have these documents available to upload. In approximately 3 weeks, you're going to get a decision, and the decision is going to, if it's positive, if we see that you've been a high achiever in your high school, and we see that you are on track to meet the minimum entry requirements we talked about before, we are going to give you a conditional offer. And that conditional offer is going to say, we would like to offer you a place as long as you finish the high school that you're currently enrolled in, and you provide us evidence that in your final exams you have achieved these results, or that your overall GPA or your overall percentage in your studies, including the final semester, including the final exams, is 80%. At that point, let's say that you get this good news at the start of June. At that point, we are waiting for you to finish your high school, receive the final results, and you're waiting for the final transcript. Let's say that will be in July. In July, you will send us your final transcript and the statement that you have successfully completed high school. At that point, you will get a new letter from us saying that there is nothing stopping you, that we have received everything from you. There is nothing stopping you from starting in September the same year. This applies as long as you have already met the English language condition. If you have not met the English language condition, you still haven't taken your English language test, the offer that you might receive from us initially is going to say, we would like to offer you a place as long as first you finish the high school and receive the results that are required for you to start the program, and B, that you also get the minimum score in English language test.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation, Zita. And we received a lot of questions. Thank you for your answers as well. So could you please share an email address on the chat box so the participants have further questions, they can contact you later?
I hope I'm sending it to the correct group.
Yes.
Can you tell me if I've shared it with everybody?
It's okay. I just reshared it now. Yeah. So thank you very much again. And I also would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adresinden Zita'ya her zaman ulaşabilirsiniz. University College Cork ile ilgili sorularınız için. Hemen şimdi İtalya webinarımıza başlıyor. Onda da sizleri görmek isteriz. Thank you very much again, Zita. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you, Zeynep, and best of luck to everyone on the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.